Hey, good morning everybody. This is Captain Muniz with Nomad Fishing Charters, and today I'm going to be replacing the impeller or water pump on my 150 Mercury 4-stroke. Now, I am not a marine technician by any means, but I do regularly provide maintenance on my motors, and it's something I've done many times, so I feel comfortable doing it. I do not recommend that anybody try this unless you're fairly skilled with your hands and you know how to use tools and you're comfortable. It can get tricky sometimes. So if you feel like it's something you could do, you might be able to take a few things away from this video the next time you're performing maintenance on your motors. I hope you enjoy it. Before I get started, I wanted to thank all of you that have taken the time to subscribe to the channel and that hit that like button every time and leave your comments. That's how we keep the channel growing and I can keep more videos coming. I really appreciate it. The first thing we're going to do is remove the propeller from the lower unit. This will allow us to lay the lower unit upright and make it easier to work on. Now there are 5 bolts holding the lower unit in place. One of them is located behind this round anode that you see here. We have to remove that anode in order to get to that bolt, and you'll see it here in a second. Now that this bolt is exposed, we can go ahead and remove it. Once that bolt is removed, we're going to start working on the other 4 nuts that have to come out. You should loosen them all gradually, and I would leave the 2 that are in the center for last, and you want to do those last because they're going to hold the unit in place, keep it from falling. Once everything is loose, you'll have to shake the lower unit most of the time to get it free. In this case, it's always nice to have an extra set of hands. You'll need a place to set your lower unit down. Some cinder blocks and a couple of pieces of 2x4 work really well for this. The extension came out with the lower unit. That's not a problem. We're just going to set it aside so we can have easier access to the pump. Here's a very important tip. When you're removing the pump or anything else for that matter, use the smallest wrench or ratchet possible. You do not want to torque these bolts to the point of breaking them. Sometimes they can get a little tough. But be gentle when you're removing them. You do not want to break one. Looks better. Notice a small piece will fall when I raise the pump. That is the key weight that holds the impeller in place. You do not want to lose that unless you have a replacement. Now that the housing is out, we're going to remove the impeller and clean everything really well before putting it back together. cut it. We're going to remove all of the old gasket material really well, and everything's going to be nice and clean before reassembly. This plate can be reused if it's in good shape. Just make sure you do not put any scratches or damage it in any way when cleaning it.
What do you call one of those in Spanish?
Now that it's nice and clean, we can go ahead and start reassembling. Now we're going to remove the impeller from the housing. I always like to pay close attention to which way the impeller is mounted on the housing to make sure I get it on exactly the same way. We're going to clean all this really well before we put in the new impeller. Always a good idea to clean the shaft really well and apply some grease. This helps the new impeller slide down, and we'll also take some grease and apply it to the back of the keyway in order to keep it in place. You can see here it's going to work just like if we glued it on there. It's going to stick there long enough for us to slide the impeller down and find the right spot. Another important tip is to apply some grease to the inside of the housing. When you first start the engine after replacing the pump, it's going to run dry for a couple seconds. So you want a little grease in there to keep that impeller sliding, keep it from heating up and being damaged. I'm going to twist the housing until I get the impeller to slide in. I try to do this in the same direction that the impeller is going to spin in. It kind of makes everything go a little easier. And then I'm just going to line up all the hose with the gasket and the lower unit and push it down. It's always a good idea to apply either some grease or some anti-seize to your bolts to keep them from freezing up, and this will make it a lot easier the next time you replace the impeller.
Make it real Hollywood.
Continue with the theme of cleaning and greasing everything. We're going to clean all of these bolts that the lower unit attaches to. We're going to get all the corrosion off, and we're going to apply some grease. This will just make it easier the next go around. Don't forget to put a little grease on your splines, on your shift rod splines and your drive shaft splines. This will keep them from freezing up in the future. For mounting the lower unit, make sure that everything is in neutral, both the lower unit and your shifter on the boat, because if they do not align, you will not be able to mount the lower unit. It's also a good idea to have someone help you carry it, and you can wiggle it into place and just make sure everything is free and straight before you start tightening your bolts.
not good.
Once you have it in position, you can go ahead and attach the first couple of nuts. I like to start working my way from the center outward. So once you get a couple nuts in, it's safe. You can start tightening everything, and it'll slowly fall into place.
You want me to lift it from over here? Slowly going.
We're on the final stretch here. Since the anode is already out, we might as well just go ahead and put in a new one. That's what we're doing here. We're just going to attach it from the top, and then we'll be able to put the cap back on and we're good to go. Well, we reached the moment of truth. Let's see how this goes. It takes a couple of seconds for the water to start pumping out, and on these particular engines it normally starts off a little easy and then it'll pick up some pressure as it goes. Although you can't really appreciate it from watching this video, I can tell you that it was an impressive stream of water shooting out. Well guys, there you have it. I hope you found this information to be useful, and I hope it'll help you on your next project. Until next time, my name is Captain Muniz with Nomad Fishing.